Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Nick Simmons Show. I'm your host, Nick Simmons, and whether you're listening to this via podcast or watching the video version via YouTube, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Now, the last few weeks we've been talking about goal setting and goal achieving, and a lot of questions have been popping up about motivation, right? It's easy to set a goal. It's a lot harder to stay motivated and on track towards that goal. Now, we have talked about tips that make us more likely to achieve our goals, but really what it comes down to is motivation. You know, we are so motivated in setting our goals, but when things get tough, when the obstacles appear, how do we stay motivated? And I've chosen to draw motivation over the course of my life from a lot of different places. And to illustrate an example of how I stay motivated, I'm going to go through 4 different very key periods of my life: high school, college, professional running, and today, and illustrate to you what has kept me motivated throughout the years. And they've been very, very different motivators at different portions of my life. And I want to just kind of remind everybody, I've said this many times before, what motivates me or what motivates you can be completely different things. And there's not one motivator that I think is better than another. There are some that may be healthier than others, as we'll see in the list of the next 4 things that I'm about to talk about. But what motivates each of us is different, and that's okay. As you're about to see, what motivated a 16-year-old Nick Simmons is vastly different than what motivated a professional Nick Simmons, you know, as a pro runner or today as a businessman. So jumping into it, when I was in high school, I was really motivated by wanting to be good at something. It didn't have to be running necessarily. I just desperately wanted to be good at something. You know, I'd grown up playing soccer in the fall and spring and ice hockey in the winters. And when I started high school, I was about 5 feet tall, 90 pounds soaking wet, and I did not foresee me ever being successful at either of those. What I did find was on the cross-country course, I was really fast and I was good. And I remember that first cross-country race coming across the line. I remember I was second, not first. But the adulations I got, people patting me on the back, people saying great job, people saying, wow, you're naturally talented at this. That was motivating to me. I wanted to be great at something, and it appeared that I had some natural ability in running. So even though I didn't necessarily love cross country or love distance running, I loved that my hard work paid me dividends, and the harder I worked, the better I seemed to get. That motivated me. I was motivated by receiving attention and adulations from other people. You know, it wasn't coming from within so much as it was coming externally. And I think that's fine. I think that's okay, especially for young men and young women who desperately want to be good at something. That is a great source of motivation. In college, I would say my motivation changed from external sources to more internal sources. I realized, you know, now I'm starting to really benefit from the hard work that I'm putting in. Now I'm winning national titles. I see a path towards success. I see a path towards possibly a future career. And it was really trying to, I would say, tap into this you know, well of talent that I was beginning to uncover. You know, I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but I had tried so many different things up to this point. I had tried soccer, I had tried ice hockey, I had tried skiing, I had tried dozens of different things, and I was really bad at a lot of things. If you've ever seen me try to play basketball, I'm the worst basketball player in the world. So I had tried so many different things and found so many different areas where I had very little talent, that to now find an area that I really did have some natural talent, I wanted to tap that and tap it as deep into that reservoir of talent as I could possibly go. So what really motivated me in college was just this overwhelming desire to see how good I could be. If I stacked season after season and year after year, how good could I ultimately be? And it was almost like paying my past self, acknowledging the hard work that my past self had done and honoring that hard work and continuing to work hard to ultimately find out in the future how good I could be. Now, as a pro, things got a lot less healthy in some ways. My college coach and I didn't get along very well, and he ended up being a true source of motivation in a more negative way as a college runner, he would say things, preparing for a big sub 4 minute mile attempt. I remember he said one time, it's a lot harder than you think, Nick. I had gone through the preparations for this race. I had been crushing workouts. I said, Coach, I am ready to break 4. He looks me in the eyes and he says, it's a lot harder than you think. That could be a demotivator, but for me, as a guy who wanted to prove everybody wrong, it actually motivated me like crazy. And I carried that chip on my shoulder throughout my entire career as a pro. I wanted to prove my college coach wrong. I wanted to prove the haters wrong. We talked about the haters last week. I wanted to prove everybody wrong. It was less about proving myself right and proving my fans right, but about proving other people wrong. Now, again, that can be an unhealthy motivator, but it can also be a really, really powerful source of motivation. And as a young, ego-driven, hungry young athlete, that was a huge source of motivation for me. Fast forward to the end of my career, I recognize that I've accomplished all that I wanted to accomplish. I've tapped deep into that well of talent and found just how good I could be. I was one of the few people that got the honor and privilege of finding out how good I could be at something. And my motivators changed once again. Now I was motivated to have as much fun as I possibly could. At the end of my career, now going into what I would call, my has-been days or my YouTubing days, it's all about having as much fun as I can possibly have with the people that I love the most. So, when you see me out in my YouTube videos, interacting with the community or hanging out with my wife and dog, racing my dog was one of my favorite videos. I really try to pursue, I really find motivation in trying to find how much fun can I have while still inspiring people. And that's really what this channel is about too. I have fun interacting with my audience. I have fun taking Q&A from you guys and seeing the fire inside you, whether you're a young 14-year-old hungry athlete like I once was, or whether you're retired and just looking to have as much fun as possible later on in life. I am hugely motivated by connecting with you guys, and that's what this whole show is about. So without further ado, let's jump into the Q&A portion of this, where I get to actually interact with you guys. Now, if you want to be a part of the show, all you have to do is text me at the number below. I'll also link that number in the description. But just text me. You'll be part of my text blast. And every single week when we record one of these episodes, I'll text you guys. We'll jump in the Zoom call and you'll be able to ask me anything. So without further ado, let's take our first caller.